Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. No skit, no story, no explanation. This is a review show. Let's review something. Something like a killer doll movie, perhaps. For with the recent release of Curse of Chucky, you don't have to remind the general public right now about the long history of this specific horror movie subgenre. There's a slight problem. I don't have Curse of Chucky. And it's over a month old, so there goes its week of relevance on Google, but then again, Child's Play is not the only killer doll movie to spawn a franchise. Charles Band's Puppet Master series, starting strangely enough 1 year after the original Child's Play, has spawned sequel after sequel and prequel and more. In the main series alone there are 10 movies, but beyond that, there are others. Sort of what you would call spiritual spin-offs, not affiliated with Puppet Master directly, but still killer doll movies and still by Charles Band. We've covered the Demonic Toys series, but believe it or not, there are more movies that Full Moon has produced in this genre. Which brings us to today's movie, Doll Graveyard. Released in 2005, this take on the genre doesn't try anything new or interesting, if I'm to be honest. It's about 4 dolls that look horrifying even before they're possessed that somehow become possessed and wreak havoc on a group of teenagers who happen to show up. On top of that, the movie's not particularly long, only 71 minutes according to IMDb. But then again, wouldn't we expect a killer toy to be a little short? Oh, that sucked. Hey, fuck it, I'm out. Okay, I guess we'll let that slide. Alright, let's take a look at Doll Graveyard and see if it's worth digging up, or... Now, fuck it, I'm really out this time. The movie opens in Los Angeles during the year 1911, conveniently when the Western film industry was happening by. Here we meet Sophia, played by a very young Hannah Marks, who you may know better as Missy Callenbeck from The Amazing Spider-Man. Here she's playing with a collection of fucking hideous dolls before the unthinkable happens. Well, if she read the health and safety information, she would know to always wear the wrist strap while playing to avoid things like this. Right on cue, who would happen to show up but her father, Cyril, played by Ken Lyle.
What are you doing in here, Sophia?
I'd think the stack of dolls and pile of debris would make that self-explanatory.
What have I told you about being in this room that...
Oh, it's just the location he has a problem with. Well, maybe you should try banning her from some room in the house other than the central hallway by the front door. Actually, it's that she's not supposed to play here unsupervised, which is also kind of a shitty policy considering he evidently has no wife, no servants, no other children, and generally doesn't give a flying fuck about the one he does have.
You're too stupid to even understand a good beating. What would be more effective than a beating?
So as far as I can tell, the motivation of her father is... he's an asshole. Yeah, he's supposedly doing all these things to uphold some kind of standard he expects from her, but he's stacked everything against her in every conceivable way, meaning that he's either a moron or just evil.
Ah. Gather your dolls, my dear. I have a grand idea in store for them.
Oh shit, don't tell me that this movie is the Puppet Master equivalent of the Human Centipede. Fortunately, no. The idea he had was to have his daughter dig a grave for the toys while appearing somewhat annoyed with the 12-year-old girl's lack of skill in landscaping. Not nearly as creepy as I was expecting.
Deeper, Sophia, much deeper.
But it's so hard.
She digs the grave far larger than would be necessary for 4 small dolls and lays the dolls to rest. Silly characters, though. They forgot that this is the opening scene of a movie. Despite the spikes and blades on all her toys, that doesn't appear to be what killed her. In fact, I don't really know what supposedly killed her. She just fell and... dead. Or maybe not, as her father does nothing to check if she's still alive or not, instead taking advantage of that conveniently child-sized grave that she happened to fall in. She's probably supposed to have died in the fall, but considering how they establish her father as moronic, psychotic, or both, you can't really be too sure. Bringing us to our opening credits, a pile of text and animation filters that look like they were assembled out of generic over-the-counter editing software, and the parallax scrolling landscape of a shit ton of buried dolls that have nothing at fucking all to do with the movie. And it goes on for 3 minutes. I know that's not much, but the movie's only 71 minutes long! Make that 68. We fast forward to present day, about 7 years ago, to meet the new family living in this home, Guy Phillibrook, played by Jared Kunitz, and his father Lester, played by Ken Lyle. Same guy playing both fathers? That's a bad sign right there. We also meet Guy's sister, Dee Dee, played by Gabrielle Lynn. She wants to go out with her girlfriends, but her father would rather go out with his girlfriend, leaving Dee Dee to stay at home and babysit her 17-year-old brother.
He may be a geek, but he's old enough to take care of himself. He doesn't need a babysitter.
I feel better knowing where both of you are. Besides, I need this place cleaned up tonight.
Translation: the budget doesn't allow us to have any more than one location. They also must recycle their props, as Lester just so happens to have Cyril's old pocket watch. I'm sure you're wondering just how he got it. So am I. Perhaps it was just lying around, as when Guy goes to clean the lawn, which it looks like he hasn't bothered to do for at least a few months, it doesn't take long at all before he discovers the spot in the yard where Sophia was buried. However, despite her being buried on top of her dolls, he doesn't find any trace of her, instead digging up her gonorrhea-suffering samurai.
What's the password?
It's me, dork.
Jeez, Guy, you've got to come up with a new password. Dee Dee is establishing her character traits for the audience as she insults her brother's hobby of collecting dolls.
They're called action figures.
Only if you're 12. And tries to blackmail him into doing her housework. This backfires as it turns out he has way more dirt on her than she does on him.
Or maybe the diary you keep of your lover boy Tom and the list of things you want to do with him, some of which I think are illegal in over 40 states.
Well, I guess you could call that establishing character traits. You could also say it's marking early who is going to die in this horror movie. Before he leaves, Daddy is seen, hypnotizing himself? Oh, but he does explain where he got it.
I found it in the bag near the old house.
It was just lying around! It's been near a fucking century! I think it requires a little more explanation than that.
That's cool. Kitschy. Sorry.
Yeah, you being played by the same actor is enough of a hint. We don't need it shoved down our throats.
I guess I'm just not feeling myself lately.
Like realizing that ever stopped a horror movie setup before. Likewise, he doesn't stop to think about it at all beyond that. Dee Dee wastes no time calling up her girlfriends to come by and make sure that there are enough victims in the house. They arrive in two flavors, Olivia, played by Kristen Green, and Anna Elisa Brock as Terry. You may remember Kristen as Janet from Evil Bong, and Anna, well, she's never actually acted in any other movie, except this one short. All you really need to know here is that Olivia is the obligatory slut, while Terry is the one and only person in the entire movie who does not automatically hate Guy.
Get any new action figures lately?
I scored a Hydra Man on eBay.
Cool. Isn't he the one who can turn into water?
Wow. Surprised you know that.
Okay, I'll mark her under obvious survivors, and we can continue. She ensures he'll keep their party under wraps by giving him a half chub, while they're busy enjoying a bottle of champagne. Truly the alcohol of choice for teenagers everywhere. Two guys show up to join the party, missing the loud women in the first floor to instead fuck with Guy on the second.
You're such a fucking fag!
Says the guy who dragged him in there and threw him on the bed, and presumably enjoyed it. Said guy happens to be Rich, played by Brian Lloyd, who I'm certain you recognize as Brett from the Evil Bong series. His friend Tom, played by Scott Seymour, is only slightly less douchey in this scene. Oh, background info. Alright. Pippi1 says that Scott Seymour is frickin' hot. I scoured the internet for information on this man, and that's the best I can come up with. Anyhow, Rich crushes the only one of his dolls that were ever talked about all movie, and then ties him up to prevent him from interrupting the party he already agreed to not interrupt. Suddenly, though, his samurai is missing. This transitions immediately to all the dolls digging their way out from the shallow grave. Okay, fair enough, this is a killer doll movie. I expected them to animate at some point, but I also kind of expected an explanation for why they could suddenly move and presumably kill people. Never mind the murderous playthings, however. The real crisis is that they have run out of booze.
I should have brought 2 bottles.
Considering they mentioned that Terry hardly drank any, that would mean that you would have near a whole bottle for yourself and Dee Dee. Damn, woman. Fortunately, Dee Dee has backup weed, which Terry also declines to further establish her high survival chances. That doesn't stop the guys from showing up like jump scare assholes, despite the fact that they are expected.
What are you doing here anyway? I thought this was a girls-only party.
Did you bother paying attention earlier?
Well, I might have said something to one of the guys.
You didn't.
What can I say, hon? I am a social animal.
And you're the one that's supposed to have a clear head in this scene. He hits on her, which she finds disgusting. But it's alright, Slut is there to take care of everything he...
I've been on your field, honey. I've plowed it from one end zone to the other. Where's the challenge in that?
Finding new and interesting ways to fuck each other's brains out? Or you could just hump Terry's leg if you've already run out of ideas. Raiding the fridge for the beer to further increase the chances Daddy finds out something went on tonight, we're back to the party as they pour some more... Hold up!
Oh, I should have brought 2 bottles.
You know, the short runtime on this movie probably won't be much of a problem. I'm gonna have to keep replaying earlier scenes of this movie because it keeps fucking up the continuity! Tom and Dee Dee figure it's about time to start the body count, so they take a break from drinking, doing drugs, and making out to go off and get killed. Have sex, I mean.
I was reading this article in Cosmo,
Yeah?
and he was talking about ways to really get a physical relationship off on the right foot. Do you want to see?
You read that in Cosmo?
Bondage sex. Of course! He's fucking dead. While she rummages in the closet for whatever, he is left completely at the mercy of Sergeant Spikehead, who unleashes a... You know, maybe what Creepy's put me through recently really wasn't all that bad. The testicular impalement complete, Dee Dee calls 911, then immediately gives up on that idea to try yelling at Tom until he gets better. Strangely, this doesn't work, leading to his rather humiliating death. How many Charles Band movies am I going to watch where a guy gets stabbed in the dick? Olivia barges in, fortunately after Tom's already dead, but soon enough to catch the antique culprit who fires at them, ineffectively. I'm impressed that his dinky gun somehow works. Or maybe it doesn't. He never so much as injures someone with it the entire movie. Terry finally goes to check on Guy, and we get our touching scene of them establishing their love for each other, and further cementing that Terry is going to live.
Plus, I'm into some of the same things you are. Sci-fi, superheroes.
Really?
For fuck's sake, Guy, did you even bother paying attention to any of the conversations you've had with this woman? However, Guy's not doing so hot here anyway, as he keeps drifting off into La La Land.
It's okay, Guy. They'll protect you.
Or, along with the killer dolls, his condoms have gained sentience and are communicating with him. Back with the girls, Olivia's desperately trying to find her phone. So Dee Dee can call 911 and immediately chuck it to the floor again? It's alright though, they find it! And it moves on its own and looks creepy as hell? A doll talking isn't exactly the most impressive feature. Dee Dee thinks fast and gets the fireplace poker, but that doesn't mean Olivia won't still crawl right up to the doll like a total idiot. You already let it take a chunk out of you. At least take your fucking phone while you're at it! Now Dee Dee whacks the doll like she should have in the first place and makes a call.
Dad, you gotta get back here, please, right now!
We're at the 46-minute mark! No, it's not Act 2, the movie's almost over! Guy is still acting funny, but even stranger, quickly commands the samurai doll not to attack Terry, and it actually works.
I've read things like this. If that spirit's trying to inhabit you, it might be controlling the doll.
The fuck? When did you get a hint of what is or is not causing the dolls to move? Especially considering this is the first one that you have seen, and it stopped when asked.
I know this sounds weird, but
Not to me, it doesn't. I totally believe in that kind of stuff.
Are you kidding me? I know we didn't exactly have time for exposition in this movie, but come on, you just pulled that explanation out of your ass! We need a break from this Deus Ex Nates to watch Rich doing some bullshit thing that doesn't matter, which is a clear red flag in any horror movie that his death will be coming shortly. No pun intended. This scene takes stupid horror movie characters to a new level, as it's not just idiotic decisions in a crisis situation that does Rich in, but him trying to strike up a conversation with the horrifying homunculus, which isn't the most talkative of the bunch. I'm still wondering why all of Sophia's toys have functioning weaponry. I'm guessing that her father has been trying to get her killed since well before the opening. Now Guy and Terry finally leave his bedroom, and it doesn't take long for him to go under yet again. We learn here that he is being possessed by the spirit of Sophia. Again. The reason you forced that information out 5 minutes ago, despite the fact that she was going to be talking through him eventually, was what, exactly? Sophia starts talking about how she needs her friends to help protect her from her father, and then immediately makes a samurai doll attack Terry, despite the fact that she has done nothing in any way, shape, or form to harm the dolls.
Guy, I'll be okay.
Sorry, couldn't help it.
I know.
But the doll still stopped when I told him to.
Movie. You don't need to point out your logical inconsistencies. That's my job.
It might not again. Especially if that spirit takes over.
So what do we do about it?
We're gonna have to put that doll back where you found it. We're gonna have to bury it.
And how exactly is that supposed to work? The other three dug themselves up. What the fuck is so special about Samurai with perpetual O-face? The other girls are still hard at work trying to get help.
We're being attacked by these killer dolls. No, this is not a joke. You have to hurry. Hello? Hello?
Did I mention this movie is only 71 minutes long? What the fuck makes you think the police will actually show up within that time frame? Anyway, climax time, so let's get all the characters together to keep it coherent.
You guys have no idea what's been going on down here.
Oh my god, it's the dolls.
So much for coherent. Lady, you didn't see any of the other dolls, remember? You've been up in Guy's room. Neither of you are supposed to know anything about the other three toys. Guy comforts Dee Dee, and the samurai doesn't stab her for some reason. But Olivia breaks it to everyone that they must leave, and must leave now. Which does make me wonder, why the fuck didn't anyone try that earlier?
Wait a minute, I forgot my purse. Forget it, Olivia.
I know it's a horror movie, and I know she's a blonde, but fucking A. Strangely enough, this somehow leads to her alone, crawling along slowly for no apparent reason, and going after her phone that we've established several times over won't help her in the slightest. Gee, I wonder what might happen. Oh, she gets horribly mauled and killed. No, actually. Bitten, yes, but aside from the wounds, she's perfectly fine, and this hasn't slowed her down in the slightest. But Guy Sophia is still there to fuck everything up for everybody.
You hurt my friends.
No, we didn't.
She's right.
You did with this.
First of all, not her, and second, that was after your friends already killed somebody! So we have a climactic struggle. Sort of. Hardly any supernatural rules were established, so there's no honest solution to work off of, and the motivation for the spirit is simply wrong, making it all come off as superfluous. Don't worry though, it turns out that the ghost's weakness is bookending. Okay, Daddy shows up in 3, 2, 1... You were supposed to come from the stairs! That's totally ruined it for me! But yeah, this run's just about the same as the opening. Right up until the dolls jump up and start murdering the shit out of Guy's dad, up until the girls yell at him to stop and he snaps out of it. Then it's back to the burial scene. As his father isn't in it, he might have been killed. I don't know. But they follow through with their incredibly flimsy plan to return the dolls to the grave they were taken from. Or one was taken from. Oh, it might not have worked. No shit. Hey, wait, this is only the 62-minute mark! What the fuck happened to the other 9 minutes? Fucking brilliant. So the 68-minute runtime was actually 59 minutes. Was Doll Graveyard. And actually, a sequel was planned. Some reason they never bothered to make it. When it comes to killer doll movies, there is enough room to assume the audience will accept supernatural forces to explain why wood, porcelain, and plastic figures can suddenly move around on their own and lust for blood, but that doesn't mean that the explanation can be left completely unsaid, and that's really where this movie suffers for me. Oh, I'm not saying that it's the only problem for it, far from it. When you take away the overly long opening and closing credit padding, the film itself is less than an hour. There are only 8, count 'em, 8 actors in the entire production, no extras, and one setting that isn't particularly interesting, I might add. All of these shortcomings could have been forgiven, though, if the story at the heart were engaging and the kills entertaining. Neither stood up very well, however. As far as kills go, even for such a small cast, this is an incredibly low body count. I still don't know why Olivia lived. She broke all the rules of survival, and not once, but twice got mutilated by the dolls. I figured Guy and Terry would live, but when 75% of the cast survives the horror movie, it's safe to say your monster wasn't that threatening. And the story. Jeez, this setup was okay, and I understand the power of bookending, but there was next to no explanation for the supernatural forces in this movie. Oh, a girl died, so that means she can possess her old toys. Okay, then why is her father's ghost rubbing off on his old watch? And with all these spirits roaming around willy-nilly, when the hell did reburying the toys become the obvious solution to the supernatural phenomenon? Call a Ghostbuster! At the end of the day, Doll Graveyard's faults are that it doesn't try much at all to be anything more than a brief distraction where you can watch teenagers terrorized by toys. As such, it's a fine movie to have in the background with some friends over and more than a few drinks, but on its own, it can't meet the standards of its predecessors, or even decent cinema, coming in at 2 antique Hydra-Man action figures out of 5. However, while Doll Graveyard 2 never saw the light of day, one specific toy from this movie has seen its share of fame, Ooga Booga, appearing in both Evil Bong and its own spin-off movie this year. Which I don't have. Yet. Thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shado, and remember, they're just toys. They can't move or talk or plot to kill you. It's just silly.
Well, hello, you say you wanna taste the truth. Just swallow it down, and it'll all be over soon. Don't try to fight, just listen to the sound of my voice. I know you wanna run, baby, but you don't really have a choice. Don't have a choice.